What's up, Nova Heads? It's Amber Nova.
This is Chris Lights Out Lytle.
Hi, this is Ray Boom Boom Mancini.
Ice Boogie.
It's the real and raw August Artois.
This is Smiling Sam Alvey.
It's Archimedes.
I'm Jack Cartwheel, the real deal, the human highlight reel.
This is Steve Mowry.
I'm Victor Henry.
Boy, Bulletproof Trooper.
Billy Stark.
It's ECW Original, The Enforcer, C.W. Anderson.
This is Honest John.
Hyper Street. I'm Luis Moreno. And
It's Mr. Classic.
and Savino Way.
I'm Jason Poulet.
The young ghost.
It's old Hattie Price here.
When I say what's my name, tonight.
Richie Slade. My name is Gino Rivera, the Frank Sinatra of the Spanish Mafia.
the incredible one, Anthony Idol.
This is Ken Shamrock.
The Golden Boy, Jordan Clearwater.
Yo, watch and listen.
Championship online.
Podcast with
This is Alex Mars here. Hi, Richard Modest.
So, please listen to it, otherwise be cursed. Okay, see you later. Love that, Dennis.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You're now watching and listening to Championship on the Line podcast. If you're new to this channel, my name is Alex, and today is a very, very special episode here today because we got a professional wrestler in the house. You may have seen this guy all over the place in West Coast Pro Wrestling Federation, Level Up Pro Wrestling, and so much more. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so excited to have him, the playmaker himself, J2 Mattioli.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me. Excited.
Oh no, thank you, man. I'm excited to have you on. And before we start the interview, we like to do a quick segment where we do 10 questions about yourself, 10 favorite questions, fun questions. Is that cool to do with you?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, awesome. So we're gonna start with the first question. Favorite movie of all time?
Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump. Oh, dang, that was quick.
Yeah, that's always like one that people always try to ask me, and I'm always like, "Yep, Forrest Gump." It's always gonna be like the one that I'm always gonna pick, no matter what. I could watch it 100 times.
Nice. Tom Hanks can't beat it. Nice. And with the second question, what is your favorite TV show of all time?
Favorite TV show of all time? I'm going to have to go with that 70s show.
Ooh, nice. Love that show.
Yeah, I used to watch it as a kid growing up all the time, especially in Mexico. When I would be with my dad, that'd be like the only thing I'd watch on TV over there. So I was really into it, yeah.
Nice. Favorite character?
I'll probably go with Fez. He's just funny.
Nice. What are your thoughts on the reboot now? Like, I know they're coming back with I think that's 90 show.
Oh yeah. I heard something about that. I mean, hey, we got to check it out and see if it's good or not. I hope it's not a flop. So we'll have to check it out.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited for it. Usually when shows do that, they make a spinoff. Usually it's not that good. So I'm hoping that this will be good for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. We got to cross our fingers for that.
For sure. Awesome. With the third question, do you have a favorite band or music artist you like to listen to?
Oh, 100%. My favorite music artist is The Weeknd.
Nice. Oh, yeah. With favorite
100%.
song?
Has to be. It's always changing, but I've got to say for now, it's Save Your Tears.
Oh, okay. Nice. It's a good one. Have you seen him live? Is that like a goal?
I was gonna watch him live, and then unfortunately he had to cancel his concert. I think this was during COVID when it just loosened up. So he was doing his after hours tour, and my wife bought me tickets, and then he ended up canceling. So we have to maybe he's doing 2 shows in LA, so maybe we can try to hit one of those.
Yeah, for sure. You got to, man.
Yeah, have to.
Nice. With the next one, what is your favorite meal you like to eat?
My favorite meal I like to eat is roll tacos.
Nice.
Yeah. I have a specific place down here in San Diego that I like to go to called Los Taquitos. It's down here in Chula Vista off Main Street and 3rd. So if you're ever in San Diego and you want to check that place out, make sure to order the roll tacos.
Roll tacos. Okay, is it just like regular taco, or is it just like?
Yeah, it's just like it's a super basic roll taco, but it's just got guacamole, cheese, sour cream, and beef inside, and it's as plain as it can be. It's just really good how they make it. I've had it since I was like a kid, so.
Nice. Now I definitely gotta check it out, man. I love tacos, so
yeah,
definitely gotta check it out. Awesome. With the next one, do you have a favorite sports team?
My favorite sports team, Real Madrid from Spain.
Nice. Oh yeah, love that.
I'm a big soccer fan.
Are you excited for the World Cup?
Oh yeah. I'm going for let me see, who am I going for this year? Well, I always go for Italy because that's my team, but I feel like I feel like Belgium's going to surprise the World Cup.
Really? Wow.
Something tells me Belgium might do something this year. I don't know. Just a guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of tough teams. I mean, it's hard to pick one. I mean, It's always like the top ones are usually like Germany or like Brazil, you know.
100%.
But yeah, I mean, because last one, I think who won the last one? I think it was Croatia, right? It was like
no, it was France. France won.
It was
the last
France,
one.
yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it should be interesting. Hopefully, hopefully it'll be a good one this year. But definitely.
Oh yeah, we'll have to see.
For sure. And then with the next question, I don't know if you're a gamer or not, but if you are, do you have a favorite video game?
So, I guess of all time, I have two answers. So all time is always going to be Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, because I used to play that game back in the day as a kid, and that was like my favorite game. But if I had to choose right now what I'm playing at the moment, I would have to say I'm a big Fortnite guy, so I like Fortnite a lot.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Good game, especially Fortnite.
Oh yeah.
I mean, such a fun game. Even now too, even though it's like maybe like it's not as popular when it came out, but it's still a fun game. It's still popular for sure.
Oh yeah, still fun to kind of pull out. So
yeah, awesome, man. Definitely. And then with the next question, what is your favorite drink?
My favorite drink would have to be vanilla Coke.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It's a first. I was gonna say.
Yeah, I was gonna say Baja Blast, but then I was like, nah, I always go to the movies and get vanilla Coke, so I would have to say vanilla Coke.
Nice. Cool. Awesome. And then with the next one, outside of wrestling, do you have a hobby you like to do?
Yeah, I used to do a lot of acting back in the day. So I used to do like movies and stuff, and I did the whole like TV shows and extra stuff in Hollywood back in the day. So I was really adamant on doing theater and stuff. So that was one of my favorite hobbies I used to do.
Nice. Do you still do it? Do you still, dabble in acting still, or?
Not as much, just because I focus too much on wrestling, so I don't have as much time. But maybe one day, you never know.
Do you miss it? Do you still get, the urge to go back?
Sometimes, not really. The drives kind of suck, driving to LA constantly every week, so I don't miss it as much.
Okay, for sure. Awesome. And then with the next question, before a match, do you have a ritual do you like to do before you get in the ring?
I would say one of the things I like to do is I'm a big fan of like praying before a match, making sure that I pray for myself and my opponent. So that's one of the things I like to do.
Nice. Love that.
And you have to forgive me, my little boy.
You got a special guest.
Slide in and out. So little J3. So
nice.
Yeah. So he might slide in and out.
Cool. Hi.
Hi.
All right.
Nice. And then we'll move on with the final fun question. If you JT could have a match with someone that isn't a pro wrestler, so it could be someone from a movie, an athlete, a celebrity, anyone that is a professional wrestler, who would it be? Who would you be in the ring with?
I definitely want to be in the ring with. I have to think about this one. This is kind of tough. I'm gonna have to say. You know what? If there was someone I'd have to fight, oh man, that's a good one. I never really thought of that one. that's not a wrestler. KSI.
Ooh, nice. Why
Yeah,
KSI?
I don't know. I feel like I've always liked watching him growing up. Like not too long ago, they always make me laugh. But I feel like he's one of those guys that I could probably beat. So
Well, I mean, he's a boxer now, so I mean,
yeah, that's true. He does box, and he has beaten. I think he beat Logan Paul. So
yeah.
So,
What kind of match would this be? Regular singles or would be stipulations?
I think I would make it I'd make it interesting. I'd make it a steel cage match because I feel like he'd do some jumping stuff, like jumping off the cage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I can see that. I can see that. And then who's going over?
Oh, definitely me.
Yeah, that'd be cool. But yeah, I mean, he might make a wrestling debut. I mean, Logan Paul. I mean, he's doing it. I mean, you can see him possibly in the future.
Yeah, you never know. We could be seeing a lot of these YouTube guys, jumping into the wrestling scene. You never know.
Yeah, that's true. Hopefully, yeah. Yeah, and by the way, like, what are your thoughts on that? You think it's good for the sport? You think it's good for pro wrestling? Are you a fan of it?
I think it's interesting. I think it's a different take. I think it's a smart maneuver from WWE. I think back in the day they would really target movie stars, and nowadays to grab a kid audience, younger audience, you kind of have to go with these YouTubers, because that's kind of what everybody's into now is YouTube. So the social media influencers. So that's not a bad choice. I think if they can find someone from social media to become wrestlers, it might draw a younger audience. So not a bad idea, honestly.
Yeah, for sure. And we keep seeing it too, especially Logan Paul. And yeah, maybe in the future we'll probably see more social media influencers, because now we're seeing it them doing boxing. So, most likely they'll probably do pro wrestling. So it should be interesting to see in the future. But yeah, I mean, once again, J2, I'm so happy to have you on the pod. And thank you again for sharing your time. And I wanted to go in the beginning of your career. So tell me about like your wrestling journey. Like, how did you first get introduced into pro wrestling? Like, who introduced it to you? Like a family member or a friend? Like, how did you first get started into it?
So my brother-in-law, he wanted to be a wrestler ever since he was a kid. And I had the same dream as well, but I got into acting. So my brother-in-law, he found out that there was a school in San Diego called Battle U at the time. And Rey Mysterio was training there, and Dom was training there as well, getting ready for, I don't think he was about to join WWE. I think he was just barely starting. So this was a couple of years before Dom made it to WWE. But my brother wanted to do it, but he was very nervous. So I kind of reassured him and said, hey, let's do it together. So me and him both paid the fee. We got there and we met Coach B-Boy, and it was kind of like a hell week type of day. And we just got a lot of cardio, and my brother ended up quitting, and I ended up staying. So originally I wasn't even going to do the wrestling thing. I was just going to help him out, do it for a month with him, and then I was going to leave. But I ended up being, very good at it. So I ended up just sticking around.
Mm-hmm. And prior to that, like, were you a fan of pro wrestling? Was it something you watched as a kid, or is it something you kind of caught on later?
Oh, no, I was 100% a fan as a kid. So I started watching WWE when I was 10, Monday Night Raw and all that kind of stuff. So I'd watch it every week. And I was introduced to wrestling fairly early in my age, because down here in San Diego, my mom, she knew Rey Mysterio Sr., the original Rey Mysterio, and TJ. So I was close friends with his youngest son when we were growing up. So I was kind of always around the whole Lucha Libre stuff. I wasn't as big a fan as a kid, but I would go to the shows and watching TJ. But I was already kind of introduced to wrestling when I was younger.
And what was it like as a kid going to the shows in TJ and watching? Because I mean, I'm sure it was a different audience compared to what we see here in the States. What was it like going as a kid and watching it?
It was pretty cool. I mean, when I was a kid, I looked at these luchadors more like superheroes, because they were very colorful, and they were these, big men to me at the time. So, and then seeing them do the flips and stuff, I don't think they were as crazy as they were today, but it was pretty interesting as a kid watching that. But I don't think I was as drawn to them as I was to WWE, because the WWE I was really into the characters, and that's what really drew me in. So.
And then who was like your favorite wrestler growing up?
Oh, Undertaker.
Nice.
Yeah, he was the one that was the first match I saw. I was watching WrestleMania 20, and it was when he came back as a dead man against Kane, because I think Kane just buried him alive like at Survivor Series, and so I was watching his entrance, and I was just in amazement of how like grand his entrance was, and how this guy was so menacing looking. But I thought it was the coolest thing ever, So he was the guy that I was always watching as a kid.
Nice. And what was like as a fan, like what was like your favorite wrestling moment watching as a fan? Like what would be like your favorite wrestling or WWE moment?
I would say my favorite moment was definitely I want to say it was around the time JBL and John Cena were having this big feud, and I just remember that John Cena was like bleeding profusely everywhere. This match with JBL, and I can't remember if it was an I Quit match or something. I can't remember. It was like back in the day, and I just remember. I think it was I Quit, and I think John Cena was about to beat JBL and with the chain or something, and JBL was just like, I quit, and I thought it was I thought it was the coolest thing ever. But just how like bloody and stuff John Cena was, I was like, holy crap. So that was definitely like a moment for me that I always remember. So
nice. Especially during that time too, like JBL, because I think that was when he was champion, right? Like that was during his reign, I'm guessing.
No, I think he just lost it. So this was like literally, I think it was like the show after WrestleMania for SmackDown. So he was trying to get it back from John Cena, I believe.
Okay, nice. And as a fan too, like I don't know, you can see like behind me, but I have a lot of figures. As a fan, as a kid, did you collect the figures? Did you play the wrestling video games?
Oh, 100%. I had every figure except Rey Mysterio. I could never find him. But I had all the figures. I had the video games, and I had a camera, and I would like film them doing their entrances and wrestle each other, and I'd make my own storylines when I was a kid. So I was 100% doing that stuff when I was younger.
Nice. Did you have like a favorite figure that you owned, their favorite wrestling figure?
Yeah, 100%. It was always Undertaker. Undertaker was like my favorite wrestling toy I had. I think I had like two versions of him. I had like I can't remember the name of them, but it's the ones where they have more movement. I can't remember the name, but I think
it was like the flexible one, right?
Yeah.
I remember that one.
Yeah. So I had that one, and then I had the other one, which is like the regular version. But I really like the flexible one because I could do more moves with him. Because I always loved doing their finishers. That was like my favorite thing to do, like the choke slam or the tombstone. And then my favorite thing was the ring, the little toy ring. I love that thing.
Yeah.
That's always my favorite.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's crazy how now like figures now like keep evolving, and it's like like freaking AEW now has figures, and and it's always something different. It's always evolving. Now they can now they're more flexible, they're more of this, and it's like crazy. And now they're like more valuable now, because now figures are they're worth a lot of money now. So it's like, what? Like I had it as a kid, and I was like trying to buy it now, and I'm like, oh geez, that's worth like double what I freaking pay for as a kid. But yeah, craziness. And and also too, like growing up as being a kid and being a fan of wrestling, was there ever a time like you like did like wrestle with your friends or family, or like did backyard wrestling? Was there ever a point of you were doing that?
Yeah, my cousins, I had my cousins that would come in to hang out with me all the time, and we would play the wrestling. We would wrestle each other. I had this like king size bed in my room, and I wish I had the videos, because I don't know if you ever watched those like documentaries with WWE where they have the wrestlers wrestle back in the day. I was like, this is what they would have used back then, because it was just me wrestling my cousins, and I was always bigger than them. So it would just show me slam power bombing them and things like that. But I would wrestle them, and I think one of my birthday parties was like a wrestling theme, so I ended up getting a jumper. And I bought all these titles. I bought all the titles, and I had like every match was a championship match. It was kind of funny. I like did my own show on my birthday. It's kind of cool. Yeah, it was kind of cool.
What was your name? Like, were you the Undertaker, or did you create your own character?
I was so basic. I just called myself Juan.
What?
Yeah, because I just thought it was the coolest thing. I was like, if I go out there and my name is Juan, like I'm the coolest guy ever. And it's funny because I feel like if you look at how WWE is with Vince McMahon, he would just shorten everybody's names. And
Yeah.
I was like, bro, that would have been my time. So yeah.
For sure. Oh, that's funny. That's crazy. Juan. Just Juan by itself.
That's it. Just Juan.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Oh man. And then also, going to level up, pursuing this business, what did your friends or family react to the news that you were gonna pursue the business and go to wrestling school and do it, for real?
I think a lot of them kind of I will say that a lot of my close friends kind of stopped talking to me just because a lot of my friends were into the acting business, and you would assume that they would understand that wrestling is similar to acting, but I don't know, just different avenues. And not saying I lost friends because of wrestling, just my friends just couldn't see similarities to it anymore, so I kind of lost a couple friends because of that. And then my family, pretty supportive. My wife's the most supportive, I would say. Very fortunate with that. But her family's a little, they think it's a phase, or because they don't understand, they don't know how the business works. To them, it's just guys in underwear play fighting. But it's hard because not everybody understands, especially because no one in my family's really done anything this grand as a job or anything. So it's really tough for them to understand. But acting was the same thing. Yeah. So.
And what was it like for them, having family or even having friends come watch you wrestle for the first time? What was that like?
Oh, it was great. It was a great feeling. I remember my first match, my debut match, a lot of friends and family came, and they're super supportive and thought it was the coolest thing ever. And, it's just a good feeling to feel like, you worked for something so hard, and then you're finally doing what you dreamed of doing as a kid. So it was a very cool feeling.
Nice. And especially, going to level up and, obviously, B-boy, what was it like going there for the first time, going to school for the first time and taking the bumps? What was that whole experience like for you?
Well, I would say the whole experience was pretty it was kind of interesting because I didn't know what to expect at first. I would say my assumption was oh, this is going to be like a performance center type of thing, because to me WWE was the only thing that existed. So I didn't know about the indie scene. So when I walked in, it was just a gym, and there was a ring and there was mats, but it was just a basketball court at the time. And then I saw a couple students there, and I saw B-Boy. He walked in, and he was a little scary looking, and I was like, oh man, is he going to kill me? But, yeah, it's definitely not what you expect at first, but once you start doing the drills and you start doing the training, it's kind of oh, this is what you have to do. And it starts making sense to why you have to do certain things to be a wrestler. Because at first you're kind of why am I doing this? Why am I rolling? Why am I doing all these things? But then you figure it out and you're like, oh, that's what it's for. So yeah, it's not what you expect, but then you figure it out. It is,
And prior to this, did you know who B-Boy was? Did you follow his career? Did you know as him as a wrestler? Or was this the first time knowing who he is, meeting him?
Yeah, I had no clue who B-Boy was, honestly. And I would, like I said, I was not into the indie scene, and honestly, most of the time, most of the kids that come into wrestling don't really know anything about the indie scene. Sure, there's a handful, but most of them really don't know. So yeah, it was pretty cool to kind of find out about him and kind of research him and see what he's done. So that was a cool thing to do.
And also too, what was it like having him as a coach and just learning things from him, learning moves? What was it like having him as a teacher and as a coach?
It was great. I mean, me, Casey, Casey Douglas and Michael Hopkins were his first students to graduate. He had a lot of students, but me and the other two were the only ones to graduate. So we were his first kids. You know, he always wanted to train. He always wanted to have his own school. Like he would help out guys in the scene. Like he helped the guys like Adam Cole, Ricochet, those kind of guys, like, you know, those guys we see on TV today, Samoa Joe, those guys like he worked with. So it was very cool to know that a guy like B-Boy was helping guys like me, Michael Hopkins, and Casey Douglas to make our dreams come true, but teach us in his manner of how he learned and what worked for him. So it was very interesting to work that style, but I couldn't be more grateful, because without him, I wouldn't be who I am today.
Mm-hmm. And also too, you know, was there any like advice that he gave you, like that he told you that you still keep to this day?
Yeah. One of the biggest things he always is a very big component of is to be different. You know, he's very big on, like, a lot of guys in the scene try to be the next this, the next that. And same thing with moves. A lot of guys do the same moves to each other. So he's super big on being creative, creating new spots, creating new moves, you know, just being different. So that's one of those things that has really stuck with me since I first started training with him.
Mm-hmm. And also seeing, you know, also mentioned that you had, you know, background in acting, you know, and having, you know, doing acting before. Was it easy for you kind of doing promos for the first time, or was it something that it was kind of like it took time for you to progress and to get better at it?
It took me time because, like, I could do it, but I think I was nervous because it was kind of a different style of doing acting, because promo work is not the same as, you know, it's not like movie acting. It's a little different. It's more like theater acting, but there's like these slight differences about it that it's hard to differentiate sometimes. But I did struggle at first just because I had a little bit of nerves at time. But nowadays I've kind of gotten back to that whole acting mode where it's easier for me to call promos. But when I first started, it's because my brain was so focused on the wrestling, I wasn't too worried about the promos at the time.
Mm-hmm. And also too, you know, training, you know, especially with B-Boy and his, you know, connections in wrestling, you know, was there a time that he brought people in for seminars, or was it people he brought in for you guys to train with?
Yeah. We've had I think we had Vampiro come in not too long ago to give us a seminar because of Lucha Underground. And then we've also had a couple others, mostly local indie guys that, you know, would help in, like Tyler Bateman came in to class one day, teach us same as Ray Rosas and Peter Avalon. A couple names that I could put out there, but he definitely had a couple of the SoCal guys with experience come in and give us some good seminars.
And what was it like learning from those guys, and the names you just mentioned, like Vampiro and Avalon? What was it like learning from him and going to the seminar?
It was cool. You know, you get different experiences from different seminars. Sometimes they're more about footwork. Sometimes they're more about the mental side of wrestling. Vampiro talked a lot about the mental side of wrestling, which is something that you don't see too much in seminars. It's always about, you know, how to sell or how to tell stories. But Vampiro was very big on the whole, you know, how you should feel, communicating to your partner about things like that. So it was very interesting to do those kind of seminars.
Nice. And especially too, you know, during this time, you know, going through training and before, you know, making, you know, your debut, like, what was it like also preparing for your character? Like, was there any inspiration that you would watch on certain wrestlers, certain tapes to kind of get for your ring style, but also for your character?
Yeah, I was starting to watch a lot of New Japan at the time, so I was really getting drawn to Okada. I really liked how his simple style was something that really caught my eye, but I was more watching his wrestling at the time, and then I was really into a lot of the power guys. I was watching you know, a lot of, like, trying to think of one, like Batista, Triple H, you know, some of these guys that would hit more of those power moves, and I really wanted to be that guy to hit more power stuff in my wrestling. And then as far as the character goes, I was just very inspired by Tron at the time, because I was trying to think of ideas of how to stand out, and I looked at it and I said, well, no one really dresses up like they're from the future, you know. And so I was like, you know, it'd be cool to kind of look like a Tron character. So I ended up doing my debut gear like a Tron style, similar to how Seth Rollins had his that one time, but I made it the actual Tron colors, and I wore a helmet. So, and ever since I wore the helmet, I just stuck with it and kept it ever since. So
I was gonna say too, because I love it. Like when I saw your matches on YouTube, and even matches from recently, I love it. Like, you know, come with the helmet and like the suit, which is like totally different. You know, you don't see that, and it's unique. You know, and it's awesome to see. You know, and also too, like, what was it like? Graduate from Level Up, but what was it like also making your debut, like coming out for the curtain for the first time? Like, what was it like, emotions like coming out for the curtain, having your first match?
It was very nerve-wracking. I was extremely nervous coming out there because, you know, I didn't want to mess up. The first thing that Benny B-Boy always says to us is, hey, don't mess up. So, yeah. But I went out there, wrestled one of my trainers at the time. His name was Sean Raftree. He used to wrestle under the name of Joe Hyken. He doesn't wrestle anymore, unfortunately, but he was trained in Atlanta, Georgia by Jonathan Gresham. So it was very cool to wrestle him as my debut, and we had a very good match, very fun. Everything was good. Crowd was really into it. And I remember just after the match, Benny came in the ring, gave me a hug, raised my hand, and gave me a full circle around the, you know, showing the entire audience, clapping for me, cheering for me. Because I was the first Level Up student to graduate, technically, because at the time Level Up just opened up. And so I was the very first Level Up student to graduate. So it was very emotional, and I teared up a bit, but it was a very cool experience.
Oh yeah, that's so cool. And especially, you know, all the matches you had too, like what was like your most favorite match? Because like you did a lot of like the Level Up showcases matches. So what was the matches that you think of like that were your favorite in their Level
Up? One of my favorites is always going to be me versus Michael Hopkins. He was with Edris Enofe. I don't know if you know Edris Enofe from NXT. Edris was his manager at the time, and that was a really fun match. My other favorite match has to be the ladder match that I just had with Cam August for the Level Up Championship. Never did a ladder match before, but that was one of my favorites, and I hope you could check it out. A lot of people say that's one of my best matches I've had, so I would love for you to check that out one of these days. It's on YouTube, so if you ever get the chance to check that out. And my most recent match with Jordan Cruz at Level Up, we just did a 20-minute match in the hot ass sunny San Diego day, and that was another good one. And then I would have to say my other really favorite match that I had was my red character against Rebel Storm at a MPW. Yes.
Nice. And especially, you know, talking about Level Up, I mean, you won the Level Up Championship. And what was it like that feeling, like, you know, especially coming from B-Boy and being the first one to graduate and holding, you know, winning the title? What was that whole experience like for you to, you know, win the championship?
Yeah, I remember. So we just unveiled the new Level Up Championship. They were going to crown the first champion ever for the school, and I just remember them saying, "Hey, you're going to the main event." I said, "Sure, sounds good." It was kind of last minute too. Like they told me the day of, and I said, whatever you guys need me to do. And the feeling of winning your title for the first time definitely means a lot, because I instantly cried once that bell rang. And I pinned my opponent, Sweet Robin Shaw, and I could just hear the crowd and the excitement of them seeing me win. And it was just such a great feeling of holding a title. I'm pretty sure any person that's ever won a title for the first time will tell you it's a feeling that only happens to you once, especially the first one you win. So if I ever win the WWE title, it's probably not going to be the same feeling as winning the Level Up title, unfortunately. So, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, especially, you know, also too, you know, what was the reception like after the match and winning the title and seeing B-Boy? Like, what was that feeling like seeing him and winning the title?
It was great, like the fans are extremely happy. Everybody, it's like that feel good story ending type of feel where everybody was so used to, because there was a storyline, it was always J2 against the Enterprise, and the Enterprise was always getting under J2's skin, and the fans just wanted me to win. So we told a good long-term story. So it just felt good that the crowd was into the story, and at the end of it all, it worked out. So it was amazing. So it was a great feeling.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And also too, in your career, you've also had tag teams. I mean, you've tag team with a couple of wrestlers. You tag team with Rebel Storm. You tag team with also Casey Douglas. So tell me about it. What was it like, being from a singles and then also transferring to, tag team wrestler? So what was the whole teaming up with those guys?
So I started teaming with Casey Douglas and Michael Hopkins, and we formed 8-Bit Lit. And that was kind of the first team we started off as. And after that, me and Hopkins formed a team. We were Double Dragons. We were still 8-Bit Lit, but we called ourselves Double Dragons Video Games. And we were doing very well. We were traveling. We were starting to get big matches. And then COVID hit. So we had to take a break. But once we came back, me and Hops kind of split up, started doing our own thing, doing singles. But then I went back to doing a little bit of tag, where I went with Casey. And then I went to MPW and did some tagging with Rebel Storm. And, for me, the tag team wrestling is great. It's a lost art. Not a lot of wrestlers are very good at it, but it's fun to do, because I think it's still a very valuable match to have at this time. But yeah, it was a great experience. You're learning with different guys. All three of my partners are very different. None of them were the same. So I have to kind of mix my style with their styles to make things work. So it was very cool. And I think very necessary for me to get better as a wrestler.
Oh, absolutely. And especially, with Rebel Storm, you guys also won the MPW tag team championship. So tell me, what was that like, winning tag team titles with Rebel Storm?
It was great. I just remember that Rebel Storm was crying because that was his first title. That was his first title win. So I just looked at him and I said, "Yep, I know that feeling." And but I've been there. But it's not the same as winning your first title. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was extremely happy to win them and win them with Rebel Storm. So it was a very cool feeling. But like I said, not the same as the first title.
Yeah, for sure. Was this your first tag team title, or was this?
Yes, yeah, first tag team title. Yeah,
nice. And especially, I remember you mentioning earlier, you're a fan of kind of watching New Japan Pro Wrestling, and also, you also had I believe you had a tryout, right? You got invited to the dojo, the New Japan LA dojo, to train there. So tell me, what was that whole experience like for you, going and getting invited to the dojo?
Yeah, we did. So we did. They were actually seminars, but they're pretty much just like I don't think there's so much seminars. It was them to kind of watch this local SoCal talent to see who's a potential for future Young Lions or future New Japan Strong shows. But it was a cool experience. The first one was Rocky Romero, and he is one of the main people to be in front of, because he's one of the guys that helps get guys on for New Japan Strong. So Rocky Romero, very cool to train with him for a little bit. And then the second one was the best one. That was where we trained with Tanahashi and Shibata-san. So it was really cool to kind of be in there. And all it was them killing us, doing all this cardio and very basic stuff. But it's very important, the athleticism in New Japan. So it was cool to kind of see that firsthand, because it kind of opens your eyes and says, oh no, I got to take this seriously. I can't just, depend on my character. I got to also be in shape and things like that. So it was a cool experience to do.
Oh, nice. And it's crazy because I ask questions to other people, and they always say, yeah, they beat you. They really beat you. You have to be in really top shape, because they go hard.
Oh yeah, they definitely do.
And also too, was there any advice or any questions you kind of asked Rocky Romero or other coaches that you kind of got advice from them?
Their biggest thing was wrestling with your heart. It's very very vocal style of wrestling, very what's the word I'm looking for? Not aggressive, but the other word I'm searching for is intense. Yeah, you got to be a very intense wrestler. So that's a very big thing they are on in New Japan. So I try to stick it with the intensity in there. So that's just one of those things that stuck with me after doing New Japan.
Mm-hmm. And especially, with, now with your career, we're seeing you kind of like everywhere in California. We're seeing you a lot of these promotions, MPW, Level Up, even now with EWF. Speaking of EWF, you actually have a big matchup coming up. You have a heavyweight match against for the title against Anthony Idol. Tell me about it. Like, what are your thoughts? Especially because I think recently you made your debut, right, for EWF. And,
Yeah. I just debuted at their last show against Anthony Idol, and it was a title match. And we have some unfinished business, me and Anthony Idol. So all I can say is Saturday you're gonna have to be there because you're about to see your new EWF World Champion. So that's all I'm gonna say about that.
Now you'll be excited. Now you'll be there for sure.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited for it. But yeah, I believe it's on October 8th, right? It's
yes.
Union title, and it's number 2, right? It's the rematch. So definitely excited for that. And and also too, you got to wrestle for West Coast Pro Wrestling. You made your debut. Tell me about that. What was that experience like for you?
Yeah, it was cool. It was me, Michael Hopkins, Jordan Cruz. Hunter Freeman could not make it, unfortunately. Had some things he had to deal with. But we had a partner come in. I think his name was Dave something. I can't remember the last name, but he's a local North Cal guy from Santa Clara. But we all worked together and we wrestled against the Conglomerate. So it was a very cool match, and it was cool to kind of wrestle in front of that crowd and for the first time in North Cal, because I have been up to a West Coast show and it gets crazy. So it was very cool to finally get on one of those shows, and it's definitely not the last. The promoter really liked my stuff, and you will be seeing me soon at West Coast Pro again. So nice. Oh yeah. And especially, with now, what are your goals as of now? Like, what's the goal for you to be signed? Like, is there a promotion you like to be signed with, any particular? I'm really pushing for Japan at the moment. I really would love to get the opportunity to wrestle for Pro Wrestling Noah. They're having a tryout up in San Jose, so I'm going to go to that, and hopefully that leads to good things. But my goal right now is to get to Japan. I really want to get there first, but if the opportunity arises to get on AEW or WWE, that'd be great too. But really, Japan is the goal at the moment.
Nice. Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it'll be perfect. I could picture some matchups for you in Japan, man. I think it'll be perfect. I think it'll be so exciting to watch. And by the way, man, I hope good luck for you in your tryout, man, for Noah. I really, hope everything works out for you. And especially, what's the list? For the future, is there any list of opponents you like to get in the ring with in the future?
Oh, 100%. I would love to get in the ring with Kazuchika Okada. He's like if I wrestle that man, just know I made it. So
yeah,
just
sure.
know if you see me in the ring with him, I made it. Yeah, he's definitely the guy I want to wrestle. At some point, I want to wrestle Ospreay. I 100% want to wrestle Minoru Suzuki at some point. He's one guy that I got to wrestle before he retires. So
yeah, sure.
As far as another guy from Japan, I really want to take on. I would have to say Will Ospreay. He calls himself the best in the world. Got to take on the best of the world. Got to beat the best to be the best. So he's definitely one of those guys I got to take on. So
definitely, yeah, that'll be so exciting to watch, and especially with him too. He's been doing his career, exciting to watch. It's crazy. Like, I don't know if you saw the PWI. Like, he wasn't even ranked. Like, I don't even think they put him in top 5, which is freaking crazy. He should have been up there.
Yeah, because I think the year before he was like 3rd place or something. But then, they switched it around. So, well, I wasn't even on the list. So
you will for sure. You will for sure.
I know I will.
No, for sure, man. You will. And then also too, especially with wrestling, there's so much to watch. I mean, there's All Elite Wrestling, Impact, WWE, New Japan. There's just so much you can watch. What are your thoughts as of now, and how much wrestling do you watch on a daily basis?
I don't really watch a lot of the new stuff. I just don't really have the time as far as AEW and WWE go. It's more like watching clips, things like that from like the shows. But I watch a lot of WCW, a lot of Pro Wrestling Noah, a lot of All Japan Pro, a lot of old WWE matches. I'm a very big classic wrestling guy. There's a reason why back in the day the matches are so good. So I'm just into that era of wrestling because I feel like there was a lot of gold stuff back then that can come back now. So that's just what I watch on a daily basis. So.
Oh yeah, especially sometimes the old stuff is like the best stuff to watch. I mean, so much stuff happened in the past, especially like the Ruthless Aggression eras and even like the Attitude era. So I mean, there's always best stuff to watch. And especially with the last couple questions I have, but like someone that's watching this and has a dream of becoming a professional wrestler, what advice would you give to someone that wants to step into the business?
I would say if this is what you really want to do it. Don't think you're too young. Don't think you're too old. Don't think you're too fat. Don't think you're too skinny. You're too weak. There's nothing is stopping you from doing this except yourself. So my first thing to them is do it. And as far as the journey itself, it's a very tough journey. It's not easy. I'm going to say it straightforward. It's a lot of hardship. And what I mean by that is it's the sacrifice of wrestling is your time, how much you commit to it, especially if you want to be extremely good at it. So if you're just a guy that just wants to do this for fun, then it's going to be fun. But if you want to be a guy that truly wants to do this, it's going to take a lot of your time, and it's almost life altering in a way. So it's a very big decision. Just know that. So, but once you make that decision, stick with it because it's a very rewarding one. I will never say that I regret doing this. So follow your heart, follow your dreams, and pursue it. So that's my advice to them.
Nice, man. Awesome advice. And especially, to someone, is watching this also and say they haven't got to see you wrestle live yet. What is the message to people that haven't seen you? What can the fans expect to see J2 Mattioli?
I would say expect a hard-hitting match. This is a guy who can be an underdog, but can also be a champion. He's pretty much everything that people can become. That's what the playmaker is, a guy that you just wouldn't expect to pull out the big win, but at the same time you would. Like, this guy can be anything you want him to be, and that's what playmakers are. So I would say that's what the fans expect from the playmaker.
Hell yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have not, please, if he's in your town, you buy tickets right now. You go buy, and because this is a person you're not going to want to miss. And the playmaker himself, so definitely if he's in your town, you buy tickets and you watch him in action. Mr. J2, thank you again for being on the podcast, man. Really do appreciate you taking the time. And before we wrap up, is there any you'd like to plug in, any upcoming bookings you have, social media where the fans can find you?
Yeah, definitely. Let's start with the social media. Please follow me on TikTok. Just look up J2 Mattioli on TikTok. I post almost every day. I post a lot of training videos. I post a lot of like highlights. I post little crazy J2 videos of me dancing in the red suit, which is pretty interesting, and to weekend songs. You can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook, all at J2 Mattioli. And Twitter as well. I also am on Twitter and on YouTube. And also please give a follow and like to Level Up Pro Wrestling, my home promotion where you guys can come watch me on YouTube, because our matches are always uploaded there, so you can see all my matches from the start to now. And then some shows I would love to plug in. Oh, also follow MPW, Millennium Pro Wrestling. I wrestle there a lot as well, so please check them out. But the upcoming shows I have is EWF. On Saturday, I'm going to go against Anthony Idol for EWF World Title. I will also be at MPW starting next week for a while, so check those out every Friday. You guys can catch me at MPW. If not, you guys can see it on YouTube at MPW's YouTube channel. And trying to think if I have any other big ones coming in. You guys can also go Pride Style Pro Wrestling. That's where I wrestle in Vegas. Check them out on Instagram as well. But I definitely have so many bookings I can't plug in at the time. But like I said, just follow me on my social medias and you can find everything right there.
All right, and there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Everything you just said, we'll put it down in the description down below where you can follow this man, all his social medias, all his bookings. And again, please follow him all social medias because I'm touched to watch this man in action. And again, ladies and gentlemen, J2, thank you again so much for the time. I really do appreciate that. Had so much fun. And also to the fans out there, thank you so much for watching and listening. And this is gonna do it for us here at Championship Line. We'll see you guys next time.